Good evening, race fans. If you haven't been caught up with the 2026 F1 off-season, hi, welcome back to the chaos. All the 11 teams have finally revealed their cars for the year, and most of them have made some interesting decisions. And you know what? We wanted something different and they delivered, so kudos to all the teams, not you, McLaren. However, that doesn't mean that all the changes were good. So today, I'm gonna delve into all the new liveries, and at the end, I'll be putting them into a tier list, because we love a tier list on YouTube. So sit back and buckle up because we have a lot to cover. First on the list, we have Red Bull, accompanied by the hit Formula 1 team Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, your favorite team's favorite team, etc, etc. Red Bull and Racing Bulls were the first two teams to launch their 2026 car, with a joint event that had riveting moments, such as Callum Nicholas and company talking about the Ford engine with VR headsets on for like 20 whole minutes. But when they pulled back the tarp of the Red Bull car, oh my god, the way I gasped. Look at this absolute beauty of a car. Now obviously before we talk about it, we have to slow down for a second and acknowledge that the car won't actually look like this on the track, because these photos are edited and Red Bull put some nice lighting on them to make the blue details come out. In reality, it'll look a little more like this. And yes, it's still very similar to the Red Bull design that we've had since forever, pretty much. But I think the changes they've added just elevate the whole thing for me. Going from matte paint to glossy with these cobalt blue undertones makes the car look so fresh, and it's probably gonna look amazing in night races. And also, it's a clever way to introduce their new partnership with Ford without ruining the flow of the whole car. More on that later. They've also outlined the bulls in white instead of yellow, which gives the car a nice retro feel. It's the perfect throwback to classic Red Bull cars such as the RB8 or the RB9, but without looking super outdated. This may be controversial, but for me, it can only go in the S tier. Yeah, Red Bull of all teams. Crazy. Heartbreaking. The worst team you know just made a great livery. Shortly after the Red Bull, we were presented with the V-Carb livery, and yeah, it's definitely not as exciting. It's not bad, mind you, it's still clean and well designed. But compared to last year's, I just feel like it lacks a little bit of that whimsy. Also, it looks like less of the car's surface is painted somehow, which is odd considering that this year they're actually required to paint at least 55% of the car's surface. I think my biggest thing with this car is that they added this weird lobe thing on the side pod. Personally, I would have put it somewhere like here. You know? Also, I don't know about y'all, but this does not read like a 41 to me. I don't know what it is, but it's not a 41. My brain is not processing it. Arvid, my man, I'm sorry. They already did you dirty and you haven't even raced yet. Well, maybe it'll look better on track, you say? Yeah. It actually looks worse. In retrospect, I think this is still a pretty nice livery compared to some of the other ones, but I guess I expected a little better from the team that had all those banger special liveries the last couple of years. I think it's gonna go pretty comfortably in the A tier. My graphic design goats did not cook this time. It's gonna be a sad, sad season. The next team to reveal their livery was Haas, the first American team. And just like every other year, they pulled their classic move. Look, we don't have enough money to pay for an event. Take this edit and some 3D renders. See you in Bahrain. But honestly, maybe they just didn't want to do an event so as not to overshadow the competition, because they popped off. I think this livery is so amazing. It's clean, it's shiny, it's crisp, it's sharp. It's got a touch of that something that makes a livery design a classic. This is a race car, folks. They said, we're going racing. The color palette is not my favorite. It's never really been my favorite. But what I like is that Haas did not compromise on it with most of their sponsors, using red, black, and white logos throughout the car. Keep that in mind. Also, the Gazoo Racing logo is such a joy to see. Like, hell yes, Toyota is back in F1. Anyway, I don't know what the general opinion is with this one, or with any of them for that matter, but you can pry this Haas from my cold, dead Hans. S tier. Next, we finally got to see the car that Audi will be running this year, and surprisingly, their launch event was the best one by a mile. Well, at first they made people go up a bunch of stairs for no reason, but then they had a really cool performance of like classical music, a choir doing like a Dies Irae kind of thing, and then some rap music on the side. They were really giving Berlin with that one. And then the car was exactly the same as what they showed us in that concept in November. Hey Audi, you do know that a concept is to show the general idea and that it implies that there will be changes to it later? You do know that, right? Overall, the design is okay. I've said before that it reminds me of some classic F1 liveries like the Vodafone McLaren of the 2000s or the McLaren MP44 of the 80s. And there are some details I really like I think adding red to the inside of the side pods in the airbox is absolutely genius. But overall, I just find it overly corporate and a little bland. Also, the green BP logo drives me absolutely nuts. I'm sorry, you mean to tell me that someone really went, hey, you know what would look really good on this predominantly gray, black, and red car? A singular green logo. Hello? It almost ruins the entire car for me. It's that bad. And I think for that reason, it's going in the C tier. Jail for 1,000 years, Audi. Next up, we have Mercedes, who didn't even do an event, as far as I know. They just dropped some renders online. Bro, even Haas had a video at least. What do you mean Mercedes cheaped out worse than Haas? The car overall is kind of similar to last year's, except now instead of that ugly gradient, they've gone with these lines, which I think look a lot cleaner. And you're probably going, why didn't they just make it the lines of the Adidas logo? Well, it's because they're actually the lines of the AMG logo. Honestly, that is peak design in my opinion. We also have the Mercedes logo pattern here on the side, which I do still really like. And they also put some teal in the airbox entrance, which they probably copied from Audi, let's be real. Overall, it's nice, but I do still feel like it's a little corporate and soulless. I mean, Mercedes is the corporate team par excellence, but it's not giving me anything new, you know? Also, I feel like I'm still seeing a lot of exposed carbon. But hey, it's an improvement on last year's, and I will take what I can get. Mercedes is comfortably going in the A tier. Next we have Ferrari, who also dropped a video and called it a day. And their livery probably had the most mixed opinions out of all of them, but personally, I think it's one of my favorites. First off, they've brightened up the red from last year. I personally liked the darker red, but this is a more classic Ferrari look, which is nice. And they've also added a lot of white around the cockpit area, which helps to integrate the dreaded HP logo. It's a bit similar to what they did last year, but I think it looks cleaner this year. Also, Ferrari seem to be on a bit of a nostalgia trip, although when are they not, to be honest? Because they're somehow referencing both the 1975 Ferrari that Niki Lauda used to drive, because Ferrari would probably explode if they didn't mention Lauda every 5 seconds, and also the 2016 Ferrari, back when Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel, two F1 champions, were driving for them. Just conveniently ignore the fact that Vettel never actually won a title with them. Disregard. Also, can we appreciate this top view right here? Because look how clean this area looks with no sponsors on it, just red paint. I really wish the whole car could look like this. Instead, we're gonna have to look at Zin now, apparently. There is one detail I don't like though, and that is the black halo. I think they had to do it to compensate for all the paint they added elsewhere, so I'm not gonna complain too much, but I think it would have looked better in white. Otherwise, yeah, I hate to say it, but Ferrari kind of cooked with this one. Easily in the S tier, in my opinion. Next up, we have Alpine, who did their car launch on a cruise ship, and they ended up talking more about the ship than about the actual car. However, get ready for this one because it is exactly the same as last year. Well, actually, no. It's even worse because they've added this weird thing on the nose where the pink is surrounded by blue, and to me, it just looked like a tongue sticking out. And now I can't unsee it. Franco, my love, I am so sorry that you have to drive in this. You deserve better than this shitbox. Alpine is going straight into the D tier. Definitely the worst livery so far. Let's just hope the other teams did their homework better. Our next livery is Williams. Go Williams. They also just kind of dropped a video and dipped, which makes sense because they were too busy not attending the Barcelona shakedown because they failed all of the crash tests. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I feel like this livery has been getting a lot of hate, but personally, I don't think it's that bad. Yes, it is a bit of a mess with all the colors they've introduced. Williams blue with Barclays blue with Komatsu blue with purple for some reason. But I think they've done a decent job in making it look kind of cohesive. I don't know, maybe I'm deluding myself because I like the team. Also, thank God they kept the Duracell on the airbox because that might be the cleverest marketing strategy I've seen in F1 ever. Not a huge fan of Claude sponsoring this team, I will say, but oh well. Get your bag, I guess, Williams. I think I'm putting this livery in the B tier. Not the best, but also not the worst. Next to reveal their livery was Cadillac, the second American team. And of course they had to do it in the most American way possible, with a Super Bowl ad. By the way, Bad Bunny, sublime. But then when the moment finally came, It wasn't even that good of an ad. To be fair, I guess all the money probably went to securing the ad slot. But come on, man, you made me sit through 3 hours of football for this? At least the livery is interesting, I'll give them that. Because they've actually gone for a split design. Black on one side, white on the other, gradient down the middle. It reminded me a lot of the 1999 BAR livery, which I'm a huge fan of. By the way, if you want some short videos of me talking about that and definitely not mispronouncing the name of the team, it'll be in the description and probably up here somewhere. Overall, it is clean and it looks very professional. And also, I love this logo right here. However, the lack of color just kind of ruins it for me. It is a beautiful car, but it just doesn't make me want to go racing, you know? And it's also not like Cadillac didn't have a ton of colors to choose from. Like maybe they could have become the new yellow team after Renault. But no, they instead chose to be boring and corporate like these two. I fear it's gonna go in the C tier with Audi. Great concept, good layout, but it's just a little too boring for me. I'm not interested in black or gray cars unless it's the 2020 Mercedes. That was class. Our second to last livery is McLaren's, who revealed their car in an event in Bahrain ahead of preseason testing. And it featured Oscar and Lando already getting in trouble with the boss.
Lando, what kind of feel were you getting from the car? Did it remind you of one of the pre-ground effect cars that you drove when you first came into Formula One?
Definitely more, you know, pre-2017, 18.
Sure hope it's not like our 2017 car.
You know.
And the livery is almost the same as last year's. But I would actually argue that this one is slightly worse, actually. Of course, I love that there's more color on the car, and they have added more papaya, which is always great. I love the papaya. But now, instead of the Chrome sponsorship, we have Gemini, which is inherently worse than Chrome because it's AI. And also, Allwin has taken up more space in the car, and it just clashes with the papaya in a way that I really don't like. So basically, we have the same problem as the Audi and Williams, where the sponsor colors just don't make sense and ruin the whole thing. Hey, you all know you weren't supposed to copy the HP Ferrari, right? You were supposed to do the opposite. You were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. Anyway, this is going in the B tier. Go girl, give us nothing. And finally, last but hopefully not least, seriously, I hope they are not least next season or else I will be really upset. We have Aston Martin. They did an event in Saudi Arabia which went super smoothly and definitely had no issues whatsoever. And their livery is, surprise, surprise, the same as every other year. There are some nice details, like the paint is satin now. Ooh. These lines that fade out into triangles, which really give it a racing feel. The faded UK flag is a nice touch. And also the Aramco rear wing being only one color instead of a gradient, I think is nice too. By the way, seeing the Honda logo there is really exciting and really scary. But yeah, not much else to see here, honestly. It's exactly what you'd expect from another extremely corporate team. I'm gonna put Aston in the B tier as well. And that is the roundup of all the team's liveries. So what's the lesson here? What have we learned today? Well, I think it all boils down to 9 times out of 10, a good livery is knowing how to compromise with your sponsors. Haas and Red Bull were able to nod to their sponsors while also keeping the car scheme cohesive, but also exciting. In contrast, these cars are kind of mid because they just slapped a bunch of colors on there and called it a day. Anyway, abolish corporate F1, abolish boring, colorless liveries. I just want these cars to be fun. Have we learned nothing from Hot Wheels? But as always, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, so tell me in the comments whether you agree with me or not. And please remember to leave a like and or subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Stay fueled and remember, absolutely yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely.
Like, hell yes, Toyota is back. Toyota?